Oh, he's doing it? Okay.
What we'll do is, we have all the tree trimmers, in the area know. If you call us, we'll come to that side.
You don't need to put it up there? Okay, we got it on there. Yeah, because I thought about it, I don't know if we sort of want to just keep it kind of closed. I mean, it's not food or anything.
But if,
They want to crowd people.
yeah, we don't really do them, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we can certainly give it some attention on social media.
Call me one day.
Tell them to cut around. But
Something about a electric meter.
You ready? Hey, Williams.
Good evening, everybody. Our September 11th, 2023 meeting is now called to order. Want to ask everybody to take a moment to silence your cell phones. The City Council encourages public participation. Comments are limited, generally speaking, to 3 minutes per speaker. However, this time limit may be reduced if there are numerous speakers on a particular item. To ensure efficient proceedings, all persons addressing the City Council shall state their name and shall speak in a civil and courteous manner. Speakers shall address the agenda topic only to which they are speaking on and shall not be repetitive. Members of the audience, please respect the rights of others and not create noise or other disturbances as to disrupt or disturb persons who are addressing the City Council, council members who are speaking, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of the meeting. We will proceed with prayer and then Pledge of Allegiance. Will we all stand for prayer and pledge? Gracious God, our Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for giving us the health and state of mind to be here. We appreciate the safe travels. God, I thank you that you would guide us today. Anybody who's speaking on the agenda, that you'll give them clear thoughts and effective communication. That you would guide us as we make decisions that affect the people of this great city. And God, we do remember that it was 22 years ago today that our nation forever changed. When we were attacked in the most heinous way. We pray, God, that those wounds are still being healed by folks who lost loved ones who were on the planes, in the buildings, at the Pentagon, in the field in Pennsylvania, and even for those firefighters and first responders who lost their lives and are dealing with long-term health implications. We thank you for their service. We ask for the protection and the leadership and wisdom of our president, our military leaders, our servicemen and women who are serving to keep this country safe and therefore keeping us strong. We ask these and other blessings in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen. Councilman Peter.
please join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you, Councilman PT. Next item on the agenda is the reading and approval of the minutes from our August 28th meeting.
Mayor, make a motion that we approve and adopt the minutes of August 28th and that the reading of the minutes be dispensed.
I'll second.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Any comment about this motion? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All righty. Thank you for that. That motion carries. We are going to start to get our first special guest to come to the podium. But just obviously an acknowledgement, we don't have our full council team here tonight, so just wanted to make that acknowledgement. Dale's on city business, and we're praying for a speedy recovery for Councilwoman Washington Eli. So, but going to have our city engineer, Mr. Nicholas Verrett, come forth, and he's going to give us an introduction. And we've got our team that's going to share with us some information about the safe, Natchitoches Safe Streets Action Plan. Okay? It's on you, Nick.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Nick Verrett, the city engineer. And last year, the city of Natchitoches was fortunate to obtain approval for an application we submitted for the Safe Streets for All grant. And this was for a planning grant that will allow us, you say, well, we don't need more paper, but the good thing about this plan, once we have a plan in place, then it will allow us to be able to pursue funding for the implementation of things that are identified in the plan that need to be done to provide for safe streets for all of our citizens in Natchitoches. And so this afternoon we have our consultant team that's here, and I'll introduce them momentarily. Just want to mention very briefly that the components of this program is not only the development of technical aspects of a plan, but also public involvement is very key to the success of this program. And so you're going to hear how the team is going to address the public involvement aspect. The other thing that's a key component of this plan is the involvement of our city's leadership. And I'll have to say that, Mayor, you have been very involved in this process as in other projects that promote safety throughout the city. We have the involvement of our city council as well, and so we appreciate, the support that y'all give us and the involvement that you have in this process. And so, again, that's going to be key to the success of this program. So this evening we have with us three of the consultant team that's going to be working on the project. We have Mr. Jonathan Gambino from Volkert Engineers. They are our primary consultant on the project. They have hired as sub-consultants for the project the Alliance Transportation Group, this evening represented by Miss Ellen Saul. And then we have some local flavor added to the mix too. Mr. Rick Nowlin, who's a stranger to no one in the room, because of his involvement in the past in public participation of many projects around the city in the past. He, representing Delta Consulting, is also part of the team. So I'm going to turn it over to our team. They have a brief presentation to make to give you an idea of what's going to happen, schedule for some public meetings later in the week, and we're just very excited to have them here in Natchitoches to get this process started.
All right. Thank you, Nick, for that introduction. Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to present to you this evening. Let's see. Thank you. We're just going to take a couple of minutes here to introduce a couple of concepts to you, Vision Zero, the Safe Systems approach, and then we'll give you an overview of the Natchitoches Safety Action Plan and what you can expect from us over the next few months. So first we want to introduce this concept of Vision Zero, the idea that we can actually eliminate all traffic-related fatalities, severe injuries, and we can increase the safety, health, and equitable mobility and create safe streets for everyone who needs to use them. So one thing you might hear Jonathan, Rick, or myself say is we might start talking about crashes throughout the course of this presentation or the course of this, this planning process. We say crash, we don't say accident, because we recognize that our words matter, and that accident implies, this isn't about fault, this is actually, accident implies that these events are outside of human influence. And we actually know that we can identify the causes of crashes, so we can also take actions to avoid those future collisions. We'll talk throughout the course of this process about the safe systems approach. And this is the US DOT's strategy for really doing just what we described earlier on, eliminating fatal and severe traffic crashes. It's a holistic approach. It involves safer vehicles. So your vehicle probably has some systems in place that it didn't have 10 and 15 years ago. It involves post-crash care. But the other elements are the ones that we're really going to address in this plan, which is safer people, altering our behavior, safer roads, design solutions, that's where Jonathan comes in, and safer speeds. We actually know that speed is very, very, very big piece of how severe and how and outcomes that result in fatalities for our traffic crashes. So the safe systems approach, it's really a paradigm shift from a traditional model where we accepted fatalities to something that is more proactive, and we say this is not acceptable anymore. SS4A, as Nick already introduced to you, was the Safe Streets and Roads for All program. This was the discretionary grant program that Natchitoches was awarded a $280,000 grant to develop a safety action plan. There were two types, and Nick also introduced this concept. There were actually two types of grants that you could go after, a planning grant or an implementation grant. So implementation grants actually fund projects, but you're not allowed to go after those until you have a safety plan in place. So that's why this is step one, and then the intention of the city is to go forward with step two. So as part of that required step one, that safety action plan, there are 8 elements, and that's what we're going to address over the next few months as we develop this plan. A number of these Nick introduced to us: the leadership commitment, planning structure in the form of a steering committee, public engagement, I'll go into that in just a moment, and then some technical analyses and plans for how this process will move forward. So just to touch on this plan, as mentioned, it's to develop a Vision Zero statement for the City Council, and it's really going to be a robust community-driven process and data-driven process to identify projects, policies, and programs that can reduce and eliminate fatal and severe crashes. So let's talk a little bit. The engagement piece is the leadership, the steering committee, and public engagement. Public engagement will be both in-person and online, and it starts this week. We're going to have several in-person meetings this week. There's going to be one here tomorrow night, and then 2 on Thursday evening. Our website will also go live this week, and this is another opportunity for people to participate in a survey, to participate in a map exercise where people can identify where they see traffic safety concerns, places that feel safe and comfortable, and also express their ideas to us. And we use that to validate our data, the data that we find in the actual traffic crash data, as well as just find out what people are experiencing themselves. Mentioned briefly, there'll be several different analyses that we'll be performing over the next few months. It starts with an equity analysis. We really need to make sure as part of this process that we are planning for communities that may have been transportation disadvantaged in the past. This includes communities of color, people without access to vehicles, people with disabilities, to make sure that we're reaching them and also that we're planning for projects in their communities. We do a safety analysis where we look at crashes, not just where they're happening, but also what types of crashes are happening so that we can identify the corrective action to put in place. And then, of course, identify those projects and strategies. So we've already begun technical analysis. We've started to look at the equity analysis so that we make sure, as we're planning our public engagement, that we're actually reaching the communities we intend to reach. And we've already started looking at the crash history. So we already know that there are, on average, over a 5-year period of data that we looked at, that Jonathan looked at, we looked at an average of 580 crashes a year. There were 34 that were severe and fatal. people who were walking or biking made up only 1% of those crashes, but it's 70% of the fatalities. So we know that is certainly an area that we're going to have to look at pretty closely. And that ultimately was about a third of the crashes that involved people walking or biking resulted in a fatality. So those are some areas where we're really going to put some emphasis on and find out why that's happening, where that's happening, look at the high injury network, look at hotspots, and then also look at why, what's going on, and what design features can we put in place that would correct the situation. We do that by using countermeasures. These are proven safety countermeasures. They are statistically significantly correct the particular types of crashes in different situations. So here's just an example of 8 of them. There are about 34 different safety countermeasures. And also, just to round it out, the last 2 pieces of this analysis, the last 2 required elements of the 8 elements, is policy and process change. So these are things that might include developing a program to educate people on how to better work together and share the road. It might include policy changes to unified development codes, zoning ordinance, things like that. Progress and transparency is the process to move forward and make sure the change is happening over time. So we're going to help you put together some metrics that you can see how you're doing to achieve the goals of the plan over time. And so it's all connected together. The vision statement is related to the goals that we develop as part of the planning process. There'll be specific actions that have to take place. Those actions are things like projects and updating those guidance code. And then there'll be the performance measures to see how we're doing. It's very similar to your comprehensive planning process as well. And I've got the schedule up here. Our plan is going to be completed by the end of the calendar year so that you can be ready to apply for funding in the spring cycle. And that is the end of the presentation. Here's our contact information here, but we really hope to see folks out at the public meetings over the coming days and to encourage folks to attend and let us know their experiences. Thank you. That's all we have. Are we taking questions? No. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you would take some questions? Y'all got any questions, City Council? Ellen, we were talking about this, and certainly thank you and Jonathan for being here today. You all so far have been really, really great to work with. And so we won the Safe Streets grant in the first round, and so we're looking to be ready to have the plan ready, and they know it's a robust, ambitious plan to try to get it done pretty quickly, but we're glad that they agreed to it and that we could apply at the beginning of the 3rd round. So, but just real briefly, Ellen, the federal government's trying to wean us off of accident word. Could you maybe elaborate a little bit more? I know you said something about it in your presentation, but.
Sure. And Jonathan, you can help me out with this too. Sure. You had a good way of saying it before earlier. We don't want to use the word.
Yeah, so we don't want to use the word accident. Our words matter. Accident implies.
I'm sorry, Jonathan, before you go further. Oh. Did you already state your first and last name?
I'm Jonathan Gambino with Volkert. So sorry.
No, you're good.
So accident, our words matter. If we use the word accident, that's going to imply that those things just happen. And the reality is we know now that crashes are correctable. We have countermeasures that can target specific types of crashes to help reduce those at a given intersection, at a given stretch of roadway. And so because of that, we want to change that mindset of these things just happen. We have to accept these fatalities to, no, we don't want to accept these fatalities. We want to we want to effect change and not have those be an issue.
And look, the crash data that you had from 2017 to 2021, Did you say where that's, is that the parish? Oh, no.
So those are the city, within the city limits, city of Natchitoches. Within the city limits, those are how many crashes were recorded each year. It was about 580.
Okay. Seems like a lot. Where'd you get your data from?
This comes from the state. LADOTD has their crash data on state routes and local roads.
Okay. All right.
We should, can I say, add one thing to that? We should point out it's just reported crashes. So if you don't report a crash, it doesn't, it's not part of this data set.
Okay. You got anything else? Again, we've got these meetings. I think we're gonna, tomorrow 5:30 here at the council chambers, right? And then 2 on Thursday. First Baptist Church Amulet at 5:30 and Trinity Baptist Church on Howard Street at 7 o'clock. So we really need the public input on this. Thanks a lot, Ellen and Jonathan, for being here. Looking forward to this plan being developed.
Thank you all for allowing us to present.
Yes, appreciate it. All right, got a couple of proclamations. First one is read by Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is resolution number 082 of 2023. This is a proclamation declaring September 21st, 2023 as Jason Jones Day in the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the Women's Resource Center, a pregnancy help medical clinic, was founded in 1989 as a nonprofit organization to offer services, assistance, and guidance to young women facing difficult life situations, most often due to unplanned pregnancies. And whereas in 2006, the Women's Resource Center became a pregnancy help medical clinic that offered material assistance as well as obstetrical, ultrasound, prenatal education, breastfeeding assistance, and postpartum follow-up. And whereas the staff of the Women's Resource Center consists of trained volunteers, including registered nurses, as well as the donated time of Dr. Martin Aviles, who oversees the medical issues of the center. And whereas the Women's Resource Center is the largest organization of its type and scope in Central Louisiana. And whereas the Women's Resource Center will be hosting the annual Celebration of Life fundraising gala on Thursday, September 21st, 2023 at the Natchitoches Event Center, at which Jason Jones will be the keynote speaker. And whereas the city of Natchitoches wishes to honor Mr. Jason Jones in his life crusades and taking time from his busy schedule to promote the mission of the Women's Resource Center. Now, therefore, I, Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor of the city of Natchitoches, do hereby proclaim Thursday, September 21st, 2023 as Jason Jones Day in the city of Natchitoches in honor of the dedication and contributions of Mr. Jason Jones. Signed, Mayor Ronnie Williams, Jr. And I move for adoption of proclamation number 082 of 2023.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. Women's Resource Center, really one of the great organizations in our city. As Councilwoman at-large Smith read some of the things that they do. We do have Mrs. Morgan Lacasse representing the Women's Resource Center. And Mrs. Lacasse, you just state your first and last name and whatever remarks you want to have.
My name is Morgan Lacasse. I'm the director of the Women's Resource Center, and I want to tell you a little bit about what we do and then a little bit about Mr. Jones. We're a non-profit medical center, and we offer free and confidential resources and services to women who find themselves mostly in unplanned pregnancies. We exist to provide information, education, material, emotional, and spiritual support. The Women's Resource Center strives to empower individuals to make life-affirming choices. Some of our client services include group classes, material assistance, medical referrals, options counseling, parenting education, pregnancy testing, and limited obstetrical ultrasounds. So with all of that being said, each year we have a fundraising event. Our biggest fundraising event is the Celebration of Life Gala, and at that event, We will go over all of our accomplishments throughout the year, what we're accomplishing and what we're striving for in the next year. So we're really excited to have our Celebration of Life Gala coming up on September 21st, and our keynote speaker is an awesome individual this year. We're really excited to have him. He's actually going to be coming in from Maui. He's working to help assist with the wildfires there. But Mr. Jason Jones is a film producer, author, and human rights worker. He was an executive producer on the 2006 film Belle, which won several film industry awards, most notably the People's Choice Award at the 2006 Toronto International Film Festival. He has a multitude of different movies that he's involved in, but he works directly to aid the homeless, people facing genocide, and women with crisis pregnancies. He's the president of the Movie to Movement, the Vulnerable People Project, and the Human Rights Education Organization. He lives in Texas with his family, and he published his first book, The Race to Save Our Century, in 2014. Jason is the host of the podcast, The Jason Jones Show, and is a frequent contributor to the stream. His book is available on Amazon should you want to read it. It's pretty good. But we're really excited to have him here, and we're really excited to be able to continue to extend our services. We are going to be announcing a new program that we're developing and going to be implementing this year. So we encourage you all to come to the gala and find out what that's going to be. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for being here, Morgan. Y'all keep up the work you're doing, all right? We got the motion and the second. Any comments? All right, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, Mrs. Lacasse, we'd like to, the Councilwoman at Large and I'd like to take a picture with you real quick, all right? Okay, the next item on the agenda is another proclamation, this time read by Councilman Harrington.
This is Proclamation 78 of 2023. And whereas James Joseph Crochet, Jim, born January 10th, 1943, and passed away September 20th, 1973, was an American folk and rock singer-songwriter. And whereas Crochet grew up in Upper Darby, Pennsylvania, and attended Darby High School, whereas Crochet did not take music seriously until he studied at Villanova University, where he became a leader of the campus sing group, the Villanova Singers. And whereas the Villanova Singers performed at fraternity parties, coffee houses, and universities around Philadelphia, playing anything that people wanted to hear: blues, rock, a cappella, railroad music. And whereas Crochet released his first album, Facets, in 1966 with 500 copies pressed, the album was financed with a $500 wedding gift from Crochet's parents, who set a condition that the money must be spent to make an album. And whereas his parents hoped that Crochet would give up music after the album failed, and his college education, and use his college education to pursue a respectable profession. However, and it does say respectable. However, the album proved to be a success with every copy sold. And whereas from the mid-1960s to the early 1970s, Crochet and his wife performed as a duo known as Jim and Ingrid Crochet. And whereas during his music career, Crochet began writing his own music. In 1968, the Crochets were encouraged by record producer Tommy West to move to New York City. The couple spent time in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx and recorded their first album with Capitol Records. And whereas in 1972, Crochet signed a 3-year contract with ABC Records, releasing 2 albums, You Don't Mess Around with Jim and Life and Times. The singles, You Don't Mess Around with Jim, Operator, and Time in a Bottle, all received airplay. That same year, the Crochet family moved to San Diego, California. He began appearing on television, including his national debut on American Bandstand, The Tonight Show, and The Dick Cavett Show. Whereas Crochet began touring the United States and made television appearances on the Midnight Special, which he co-hosted on June 15th, and the Helen Reddy Show, on July 19th. His biggest single, Bad Bad Leroy Brown, reached #1 on the American charts in July. And whereas on the night of Thursday, September 20th, 1973, during Crochet's Life and Times tour, and the day before his single, I Got a Name, was released, Crochet and 5 others were killed when their chartered Beechcraft E-18S crashed into a tree during takeoff from the Natchitoches Regional Airport. And whereas an hour before the crash, Crochet had completed a concert at Northwestern State University's Prather Coliseum. And whereas the Crochets, Jim Croce was loved by many artists and fans. His dedication and love for music will keep his memory alive. Now therefore, I, Ronnie Williams Jr., Mayor of the City of Natchitoches, do hereby proclaim September 20th, 2023 to be Jim Croce Day in the City of Natchitoches. I move to adopt Proclamation 78 of 2023.
83, it's on the thing.
What's
It's
that?
83 or 78?
I'm sorry, it's Resolution 78, yeah,
Oh,
of 2023.
proclamation, okay.
Okay.
Chris seconded.
Got a motion and a second. I think, Ed, there's some recognition at the airport to Mr. Jim Croce.
Yeah, there is. There's a monument of sorts that was mostly paid for by the Natchitoches Historic District Development Commission, in part because there, to this day, people still come to the airport that want to see where, where the plane crash was. They don't come often, but, just periodically you will have somebody show up and you want to see where the crash was, and they'll read the monument. It's actually inside the building, just because we didn't want it in the weather and it fading and all that. But as soon as you go in the FBO, on the wall to your right, it's on the wall.
Councilman Harrington, we appreciate you bringing this to our attention. This happened, tragic crash, when was it?
I think the weather was pretty bad. Wasn't the weather pretty bad that night?
I don't think so.
I don't think
Miss
so.
I
Betty.
kind of remember when it happened, yeah.
Me and my dad was at the show.
Yeah, I was at the show, I remember
The
that.
show was at NSU.
NSU.
At Prather
Okay.
Coliseum,
In what year?
1973.
73? No, you
No,
weren't
my
there.
dad was.
Oh, you said your dad.
No,
It did sound like you said you and your
Yeah,
dad.
you sure did sound like you
Yeah.
said you and your dad.
about 10 years later.
How old is Eddie? Yeah.
like
Okay.
you said
I saw
you
some
did.
other recognition to commemorate his tragic passing. I can't exactly remember what it was, but any comment? Any other comment here? Okay, I think we had a motion and a second. Roll call vote, Ms. Sexton.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
Councilman Harris, we don't have anybody from the family, but do we? We could get Ed up here, but,
My dad's been in contact with his son.
okay.
I can try to get it to him.
Maybe we can send it to him? Okay, great. And just let us know. We'll pay for
Okay.
whatever we need to. All right, but again, thanks for bringing that to our attention. All right, our next items, we have a couple for introduction, planning and zoning side, and this one, Mrs. Stacy, who's reading this one?
I got it.
Okay, Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 054 of 2023, and ordinance amending ordinance number 64 of 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. 13.63 acres being a portion of land situated on the south side of State Highway 6, extending southward into Northwestern State College campus at that portion of Northwestern State University, lying north and west on Tarleton Drive, being bounded on the north by University and Parkway, on the south by Natchitoches Central High School, and on the west by Highway 3110. Whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, has recommended at their meeting on September 5th, 2023, that the application of Northwestern State University to rezone the property described above from R1 residential to B3 commercial for future development. This is just for introduction only.
Okay. Just for introduction, Ms. Rock, this, of course, went to planning and zoning. Do we need, yeah, you want to, is there anything else? I know we have Dr. Drake Owens here, so
So
do we
it's
need
just for
him to come
future,
up, or you could say what needs to be stated, or however we want to do it?
it's just for future development. It's actually 31.63 acres from the highway bypass all the way up to University where the old ninth grade center is. And they are actually doing a subdivision of the land with a rezone for future development.
Okay. Council, you got any questions? All right, again, this is just for introduction on today. I think everybody is familiar with this spot and see some dirt work that's going on right there, so. All right, this will be up for a vote, our next meeting. All right, Councilman PT, I think the next item is yours as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 055 of 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 64 of 2001 by changing zoning classification of property described as follows. Slot 40, front east side, 2nd Street, north by Free, south by Grayson, east by boundary line between Sherman and Wilson and the city of Natchitoches. Whereas the Planning Commission of the City of Natchitoches, State of Louisiana, has recommended at their meeting on September 5th, 2023, that the application of Janice Marie Scribner to rezone the property described above from R2 residential to R2 residential with a special exception for short-term rental be approved. And this is for introduction.
Okay. This recently went through planning and zoning as well.
It did,
Any other?
and it was approved unanimously because of where it's situated. Most of the surrounding property is either R2 or B3 or B1 commercial, so they didn't have any opposition with this application.
Okay. Council, do we need to hear from the owners, or are we pretty much, I think everybody understands what they want to do? Comment or question?
Now, where exactly is this on Second
This is
Street?
across the street from the Utility Service Center on 2nd Street.
From the tourist, okay.
Okay. All right, again, this shows up, that next meeting is October,
No, the 20.
September 25th, that's right, September 25th. So it shows up at our next meeting. Right, the next 4 items are final, so they're for a vote. Well, one of them will have a different motion, we ask for a different motion. But Councilwoman at-large Smith reading the first of these.
Thank you, Mayor. It's ordinance number 048 of 2023, which is an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to award the bid for the equipment replacement sludge thickener number 2 of the Natchitoches wastewater treatment plant. Whereas resolution number 042 of 2023 was passed by the City Council May 22nd, 2023, authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for the equipment replacement sludge thickener for the City of Natchitoches wastewater treatment plant, bid number 0662. Whereas the bid was advertised in the Natchitoches Times on June 1st, June 8th, and June 22nd of 2023, in accordance with law, and whereas one bid proposal was received and opened, McInnes Brothers Construction of Minden, Louisiana, bid amount $756,000. Now therefore, whereas above appointed committee members did approve this bid, now therefore be it ordained that the Honorable Ronnie Williams Jr., Mayor, is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to sign any and all documents necessary for acceptance of this bid. And I move for adoption of ordinance number 048, 2023.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. I believe at our last meeting, Matt Anderson, the utility director, explained the necessity of this project, sludge thickener. I mean, it's something that has to happen to keep the operations of the sewer plant going, so. Anything else, Matt?
No, unless anybody has any questions.
Okay. Any comment or questions on this agenda item? Okay, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next, City Council, I would ask, respectfully ask, that for a motion to table this next ordinance, ordinance number 50 of 2023, is that right? That's what I'm doing? Okay, and before you move, Alex, if you want to explain why we need to table it this time. This was the utilities revenue bonds.
It was scheduled for a S&P call. We didn't have that call, so since we didn't price it, we can't put the important details in now. So we rescheduled it toward the end of September.
The beginning of next week, I think it's the 19th.
Okay, the 19th. So at the next meeting, we have the details for the orders, and then we can move forward.
So the call is next Tuesday, and then we'll have the details for the 25th.
Yeah.
So it should be back on the 25th. And again, this is related to the water treatment expansion, plant number 4, and rehabilitation of plant number 3.
Mayor, I make a motion that ordinance number 050 of 2023 be removed off the agenda.
Second.
I think motion made and second. I think we got a second. Motion made and seconded. Comments? All right, seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
Again, thank you, council, for that. We'll have that on the next agenda on the 25th, okay? All right, next item is Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 051 of 2023, an ordinance to repeal ordinance number 039 of 2023, awarding bid number 0661 for improvements at Professor F.M. Richardson Park. Whereas further subsequent to the passage of ordinance number 039 of 2023, the city council was informed that the city had not obtained official approval from the Office of Community Development, Division of Administration, State of Louisiana, to award bid number 0661. And whereas further, the Office of Community Development, Division of Administration, has confirmed that an official approval letter will be issued to the city in the near future. So moved to adopt ordinance number, correction, 51.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. I think we explained this at our last meeting, and I actually had Tracy Watts in the office and some of our other staff as they were monitoring the Paul Haddon grant, just one of the steps that they go through, so she explained. And she told us that maybe at that time it was 2 weeks, so that really hadn't happened yet, but we should receive the official letter for giving us permission to go out for bid. So we received something, the ERR, and just thought it was saying that we could go out for bid, but that's not what it was communicating. So we need to repeal this and hopefully get that other letter soon and ask for permission to go out for bids at that time. So just a step in the process. So we're still going to get the funding. The grant is still there for us, but it's just a step we have to take at this time. Any comments about this? Okay. Seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries also. All right, next item is read by Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. This is ordinance number 052 of 2023, which is the ordinance renaming the city street, which is currently designated as Trudeau Street, to henceforth be known as Remembrance Way in honor of the year of the founding of the historic Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot, and otherwise providing in conjunction therewith. Whereas the street extending west to east from Martin Luther King Jr. Drive to 6th Street, and which is paralleled by Lafayette Street and Amulet Street in the city of Natchitoches, is currently named Trudeau Street. Whereas in honor of the year founding of the historic Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot, 1927, It is the desire of the city to rename the street Remembrance Way. Be it further ordained that upon adoption of this ordinance, the city clerk is authorized and instructed to file a copy of this ordinance with the clerk for the Natchitoches Parish. Be it further ordained that all official maps, plats, or subdivisions, controls, or regulations, or zoning plans be amended to reflect the name change in honor of the year of the founding of historic Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot, 1927. This ordinance was introduced on August 28, 2023, and published in the Natchitoches Times. And I move for adoption of ordinance number 052 of 2023.
A second.
Motion made and seconded. We obviously have to have a name of the street officially for deliveries and things of that nature. This project I think it's moving along now. Of course, we had what a lot of projects are dealing with, kind of supply chain issues. This one, I think, was related to the HVAC and some other material, but I think it's moving. I'm checking it a few times a week. I know people like Ed and Brandy are over there multiple times a day in some cases, so it's going to be really good. But we didn't just arrive at this name. There is a young lady who is, I think, with us tonight. Is that you in the back, Melody?
Yes, sir.
All right, we got Melody
Yeah,
right
Melody
here.
here.
And we presented, I actually gave the council members, I think there were about, I don't know exactly, but maybe about 20 entries, you would say, Alex? Something thereabout, plus or minus a couple. You know, and I can see why after reading Melody's essay that she, her suggestion is the one that wins. So Melody, I don't know, you don't necessarily have to, but is there anything you would like to say about your winning essay?
I'm going to ask Melanie, would you come to the podium, Melanie, and just, if you don't mind, come to the podium so people can see the essay winner. She's a little shy. Let's give Melanie a hand, if you don't mind.
Hey, Melody.
Thank you, Melanie. Great job. Great job.
You did great, and your name, your suggested name is gonna not only go, as we say, in the history books, but it's gonna be there to perpetuity.
Yeah.
And this is gonna be, I think, a major site for our city, and I think you should certainly great honor that, you know, you were the one who responsible for helping to name it. So Remembrance Way, I think we're saying. Did we have to say a motion on this? Did somebody say it, or did we just made some change to it or something like that?
No. It was,
We didn't? Okay. All right. But again, Melody, we know you said you didn't want to say anything, and but I do appreciate I think I remember reading where you said you're glad your parents moved to Natchitoches or something like that. I think I remember seeing that, and so I certainly appreciate that, because I think we have a lot to offer, a lot of upside, and I just think that's good to hear every now and again, amongst some of the other things we hear from other places. So, but again, we really appreciate you being here.
I think Melanie is a student at East Natchitoches, correct? Sixth grade. Yeah, sixth grade, correct, Melanie? She was. Okay. She's at the 7th grade now.
Which is in
JH?
Okay.
Okay, I didn't see you over there today. Did you see me? Okay. Well,
Alex,
great.
were you gonna say something?
Yeah, I had a chance. I was looking through the essays and I was comparing them all. I just want to say I read it, and I want you to keep writing. I mean, the way you explained it, the way you went through it, you took your time. I enjoyed just the read itself, how you came to your conclusion. So I think you should, you know, keep it up. Don't stop. You can only develop it, make it better. And even though you don't want to speak right now, but I want to ask something. Some people don't speak verbally.
That's true.
Some people like to write, and that's where you express yourself. So you keep doing that, okay?
And we have the essay right here that you wrote, so.
It's certainly an art form. Let's give Melody another hand. I think it's warranted. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melody, the mother, mama?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks a lot, because I know she wrote it, but she has to have a really good upbringing to produce something like that. So we really appreciate what you're doing in her life, okay? All right, so we're going to say this.
Mayor, could I add something?
Who's that? Randy?
Me.
I think you're going to add what I'm going to
I know you have
say.
an announcement at the end, but I think it's an appropriate time to mention that the Texas and Pacific Railroad Depot was officially listed as one of the stops on the Civil Rights Trail through the state of Louisiana that was recently created through the Lieutenant Governor's office. The crew will be here in the morning to start installation of a monument that will be in front right of the depot, which we will unveil next Tuesday when the Lieutenant Governor is here, as well as do a ribbon cutting for the depot.
And did you say next Tuesday
The
at
19th. The 19th.
At
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock?
Hopefully
All right.
Melanie can come. Melanie, would you be able to come to next Tuesday at 10? Okay. Please
We
have
could
her
do it.
there.
We certainly could do it,
Please
yeah.
have her there, okay?
I think they put her on the program to some degree. I'm not sure what, but I think they plan to acknowledge her
Great,
Right.
at the
great.
ceremony.
Well, awesome. People for years have been trying to do something
With that.
with this,
Sure have.
with this building,
Miss
talked
Morrow
about it.
was very
Yeah, that's what I was
instrumental in
going to say
fighting
too. I
for
remember Miss Morrow a lot saying what could happen with the space. And I know there were others as well, but she was the one I heard about it.
Out
So
front.
to finally see this moving forward, and not just moving forward, but almost complete, so.
And I just want to add, Mayor, that the address will be 1927. That would be the address, and the street name would be Remembrance Way. And only because no one lives on that street. It's just that particular building, so. Okay.
Gotcha. All right, any comment about this? Yes, will you come to the microphone?
So is it just a portion of Trudeau that's being changed, or is it all the way down to the waterfront, to Front Street?
Well, this is, Trudeau goes, so this would be the street that doesn't have a name
Mayor,
right
if
now.
I can clarify,
It's
the address assigned to the depot currently is it 608 Trudeau, because the street wasn't named, and I think that's what drove the language in the ordinance. But none of Trudeau is changed in any respect. It's only the street in front of the depot between Trudeau and Saint Denis that is being named Remembrance Way.
Okay. So it's not the whole street?
It's a
not-
side
it's not-
street
it's a
off
side.
Trudeau.
Alpha
It's
Trudeau.
not actually Trudeau.
Oh, so Trudeau remains Trudeau?
Trudeau remains
Right.
Trudeau. It's not being changed. 'Cause people live on Trudeau, so it's not being
Yeah,
changed.
I know. I think that's a lot of work to have all your addresses changed.
Right, right.
Yeah.
No, it's not being
Okay, thank you,
changed.
because I'm confused.
It's right behind OCS office, the side street.
Well, I just thought it was a little bit hilarious that Trudeau was being changed. My daughter-in-law's from Canada. She was just here and got a picture taken with the sign, so I'm thinking, she might have something that she could get a lot of money for in years to come. Because the street would no longer be there.
No,
So
ma'am.
Trudeau will stay,
It
Trudeau will
stay the
stay.
same.
All right, I think we got did we get the motion in second?
No.
All right. Okay, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, Melody and Mom, Kevin has asked for a picture, so City Council, how about we all take a picture
Sounds
with
great.
Melody and her mother? If y'all don't mind doing it real quick? So that motion carries, awesome. Right. And we'll just do it in front of. All righty. Once again, awesome, awesome. All right. The next one is for introduction, then we got a couple resolutions on the end. And this introduction is read by Councilman Harrington.
This is ordinance 56 of 2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to award the bid for the 2023-24 street rehabilitation project. And whereas resolution number 70 of 2023 was passed by the Natchitoches City Council on July 4th, 2023, authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for the 2023-24 street rehabilitation project. Whereas 3 bid proposals were received and open as follows. Regional Construction LLC of Natchitoches, $802,099.90. APEC Construction of Anacoco, Louisiana, $1,093,707.97. TL Construction LLC of Alexandria, Louisiana, $1,094,721.90. Whereas on September 6, 2023, the appointed committee of Clarissa Smith, Finance Director, Ed Lee, Director of Purchasing, Donald Forrest, Director of Public Works, and me, Councilman, reviewed the bid proposals for the 2023-24 street rehabilitation project, and the above appointed committee members unanimously recommend the city award the bid to the lowest bidder of Regional Construction in the amount of $802,099.90. And is this for introduction only? Mm-hmm. Yes, for introduction only.
All right, Nick, we have you here. Some comment you want to give to us?
Nick Barrett, City Engineer. Just to reiterate, the streets that are included as part of this project are Fairgrounds Road, Carver Street, and West 3rd Street. So those 3 streets, and the low bid was below the engineer's estimate. So we're recommending that it be awarded. Any questions?
Say the streets again, Carver and
Carver, Fairgrounds Road, and West 3rd.
West 3rd.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
From the bypass to Wallenberg Drive, that matches the end of the previous overlay.
It definitely needs it.
Which, Nick, when was that approximately, that first one?
It was before my time with the city.
From Rapides to that point?
Yes, sir. I assume it was a year or 2 before my time with the city. I came on in July of 2017.
Okay. Okay. All righty.
Now, West 3rd is over there by Texas Street?
It's
that area?
between Texas and Sabine.
Sabine,
yes, ma'am.
right.
By
It
the
definitely
Moffett
needs it.
station there. Yes, ma'am.
Buses have a hard time over there.
Okay. All right, no other questions for Nick? All right, this is just for introduction. Thanks, Nick. All right, 2 resolutions left, and the first one, Councilwoman Delora Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 081 of 2023. It's a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Risk Services of Louisiana for property insurance for the city of Natchitoches, whereas the purchasing director and the finance director has reviewed the proposal submitted for property insurance for the city of Natchitoches and recommends the contract be awarded to Risk Services of Louisiana, Inc. in the amount of $231,604 for the policy period October 11, 2023 through October 11, 2024. Now therefore be resolved that the Honorable Ronnie Williams, Jr., Mayor, is hereby authorized, empowered, and directed to sign any and all documents necessary for the execution of the contract. It's referenced above. And I move for adoption of resolution number 081, 2023.
Motion made and seconded. Ed, this is something we see, is this annually?
Yeah, this is once a year. This is the city's property policy. There was about a 10% increase this year. As you know, C&A, who we were with before, even the prior year, they pulled out of the state of Louisiana, just like other insurers have, and kind of limited. And so this one is now with Travelers Insurance,
Risk Services is the agent along with Cunningham Agency. So it was about a 10% increase, but also as part of that, we had the property, some of the properties were revalued by Travelers Insurance, just based on the loss replacement estimate. And as such, the policy had an increase. And just so people know, the city of Natchitoches has the total value of all their assets that are covered under this policy is $111 million. So there's a lot of things covered on this policy, such as not just like the buildings we're in, but also things such as lift stations, electrical substations, water plant, sewer plant, everything like that is included in it.
Okay. Council, any comments, questions for Ed or about that information? Any comments in general? Seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Peachy.
Yes. All right, that motion carries. Last item is a resolution, and it's read by Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Resolution number 084 of 2023, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to execute a cooperative endeavor agreement between the state of Louisiana and the city of Natchitoches, Louisiana, for the 2nd Street and 2 Line Street concrete pavement and replacement, planning and construction. Whereas the legislature of the state of Louisiana, through the Office of Facility Planning and Control of the Division of Administration, has approved funding for 2nd Street and 2 Line Street concrete pavement and replacement, planning and construction in the sum of $200,000. Whereas the legislature of the state of Louisiana requires that a cooperative endeavor agreement be executed in connection with this project, whereas the mayor of the city of Natchitoches desires approval to sign a cooperative endeavor agreement and other documents that may be required to facilitate the funding of the above described project. I so move to adopt resolution number 084.
I'll second.
All right, motion made and seconded. This is one of our wins, if I could say it like that, through the capital outlay process. Last meeting, we had on the agenda the CEA for the fire station number 3 that we want to build on University Parkway. So we're excited about that. Got a call tomorrow dealing with that. So we're just looking for that to go smoothly. But the reason we needed to do this area of street, I mean, it needs it to be rehabbed, but everybody knows it's going to be a temporary bridge eventually, Councilman Harrington, placed and line up with 2 Line. So given that dynamic, it's going to be a more traffic street, and it just needs some rehabilitation. So this is planning money, and so the hope is once we get the plan done, and I don't know if Nick would have anything to say specifically about that, then we'll come hopefully next year and ask for construction dollars, typically how it works. And all in total, if we were to get everything with this project, I think we said about a $2.2 million project. And again, we're getting this funded through the state. Hopefully we'll get the rest of the construction dollars, but certainly the plan is being paid for by state dollars. So again, it's a real challenge to everybody's trying to eat on capital outlay, and if you're south of I-10, you're South Louisiana, I say it like that. Seems like you have a lot of stroke these days, but we're happy about what we're able to get from the capital outlay process this year. So all of those projects seem to be moving. This one is going to start to move. Nick, is there anything you need to say?
No, sir, not really, but as you said, I think the need is there now, but traffic patterns are probably going to change when the temporary bridge gets built as part of the Church Street Bridge Replacement Project. So that's why we felt the need to push for the funding now and try to get ahead of that game, before the bridge project gets done, which right now the bridge project is scheduled to be bid sometime in 2025. So We have a little, yeah, I know.
I think 6 years ago, we had meetings at DOTD, and they're like, we're going to get this started right away.
Yes, sir. And they've had a lot of turnover in the bridge design section at DOTD, and that's one of the reasons for the delay, is what they're telling us. So anyway, this kind of helps us get ahead of the game on that project by doing some rehab on these streets that probably will receive a lot more traffic than they do now.
Nick, that bridge project, that's 100% funded by the state?
Yes,
That
it's
bridge
federal,
replacement?
bridge replacement funding. It's no state funding either, it's all federal money.
Federal dollars,
Yeah,
okay.
but no local contribution required, correct.
That's great.
Okay. Any comments? All right, seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
PT.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Our next city council meeting is going to be on the 25th of this month, 2 weeks per our usual. There's a lot of exciting things on the Go Natchitoches app. Download it and share it. We're going to try to be aggressive about reminding people to download that app because we do have things going on. And then, of course, regroup for those emergency or road blockages and things like that. I think we got a slate of announcements outside of that. Meat Pie Festival, 21st annual. It's going to be the Saturday the 16th. So that's, again, it's always free admission. Of course, there'll be vendors that you could patronize for food and entertainment for youth, music groups. So, and it's a food festival that actually has the food that it's named after. Because I've actually been to one before that really didn't have much of the food that it's named after. So this one actually you can buy, different types of meat pie. So, and this is what Randy mentioned earlier, Tuesday, September the 19th at 10 a.m. It's a big deal. This marker that's being unveiled will be on the Civil Rights Trail. I think they have 8 or 9 sites so far that have been dedicated, so we're getting on the trail. So again, it's a huge deal. Not every city is on the trail, but we are. So that's a great, and compliments to some of our partners who made this happen for us here. So again, a big deal happening. Certainly want to, if you're not doing anything, to come out. Even if you are doing something, clear your calendar and come out at 10 next Tuesday to witness this. We talked about this earlier, Celebration of Life Gala next Thursday. At 6:30 is going to be at the Event Center, and it's that annual fundraising event. Again, we know the work that the Women Resource Center does for women in our community, and not just the city of Natchitoches, but even outside of Natchitoches. So we appreciate that work. Getting everybody ready for the car show, which has grown, I think, in popularity and in terms of the people that frequent it and go. And so there's always a nice event on Friday night, but even throughout the day Saturday. So I know it's grown tremendously since inception. So that's one of the big deals in our city. So that's the 29th and 30th at the end of this month. Kiwanis, that 5K color run. It's going to be Saturday, October 7th, and there's always a pancake contest. I think Chief Collins and I were a part of it last year. Of course, we all know who the victor was. Me, of course, right? No, I really did win last year. So, all right. So that's always a fun deal after they do the run. And the Creole Festival, you may see signs up. I've seen one at the corner of Williams and Kaiser already, but the 13th through the 15th. So several things going on. Of course, fall is when we really pick up in the event. So got some events going on now. So is that the last one? Okay. Oh, and then Taptober, yeah. They got Tracy Lawrence coming. He's been before, right? He's been here before. I think
he was it.
I think he's been here before. I don't know. Maybe he's been. I don't know if he's been to this one, but he's coming on the 7th, which is the same day as the Kiwanis the Kiwanis event. So again, a lot going on this time of the year. We know we have the Safe Streets Action Plan. To say again, tomorrow night at 5:30, we're asking people to come out. We'll do another push on social media, and that's going to be here at Council Chambers. On the 14th, which is Thursday, we're going to be at First Baptist Amulet Church at 5:30, and then we're going to go to Trinity Baptist Church at 7 o'clock at 527 Howard Street. And to get the public feedback, as Ellen and Jonathan mentioned earlier. So really important, really excited about that. Again, we're one of only 11 cities in Louisiana, and we think we're on a good pace to be in a position to prepare for a grant application for implementation dollars next year. So we're looking forward to that. Of course, Mr. Rick Nyland, as Nick said earlier, is helping with the public engagement session. So we're glad to have him a part of that. But this is the Natchitoches Next. You may have seen this around. We're trying to push this as well. So different from the Natchitoches Safe Streets Action Plan, this is a master plan that has really been 2 years in the making. A master plan, we do these to kind of be thoughtful about how we grow as a city. And I think that we're cognizant of some of our major needs here. And so really excited about this plan as well. Of course, we want to put these plans to action, and so it's going to take some funding, and we're always looking at how we can fund the projects that need to be done. So that's happening October 10th and 11th with 3 meetings set there. And of course, we want people to be engaged and involved in the Natchitoches Next meetings as well. That's the last one? Oh, okay. So we've got, this is the Creole Heritage. I think we announced this from the last time as well, but this is their 25th anniversary kickoff, and they're having this on October the 12th, 5 to 7, at the gallery on the campus of the Northwestern State University. So they've got the dress code and all that there, and there are tickets. It's a ticketed event, $40 for adults, $20 for children. So again, a lot of events going on. Is that all of them, Steve? Oh, okay. Of course, we remember today, 9/11 Patriot Day. It's one of those days you certainly never forget. I think everybody remembers where they were on that day. We always, and kudos to Mass Department for putting up the flag that they do every September 11 commemoration. So it's been 22 years since that day. So certainly we don't ever want to forget that. All right. Council, I think that's it, right, Steve? That's all at the end of those announcements. Again, our next meeting is on the 25th. This time we'll hear a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, make a motion we adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion made to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks.